Hi everyone, welcome to The Enthusiastic Buddhist. In this episode I want to talk about how the Buddha's teachings were recorded and what are considered to be some of the important Buddhist scriptures. So after the Buddha left this world and passed into Mahaparinirvana, which is a state completely free of clinging and characterised by the highest bliss and wisdom, his followers of monks came together in a place called Rajagaha, now known as Rajgir. Now that the Buddha was gone, they wanted to recollect and remember all the Buddha's teachings before any of it was forgotten, changed, or became corrupted. It was Mahakassapa, one of the Buddha's most distinguished disciples, that called this meeting. He summoned 500 arhats to participate in what became known as the First Buddhist Council. Now, arhats are people who have realised the Buddha's teachings and become liberated from the cycle of birth and death. They've attained nirvana and are free of all mental defilements and karma. They're not people with ordinary capacities, but people of extraordinary wisdom and abilities. Now, Ananda, who was the Buddha's loyal attendant throughout his whole life, was also summoned as one of the 500 arhats. However, it was said that he had not attained the state of an arhat before the meeting. This was because during the Buddha's life, he had little time to practice because he was always looking after the Buddha. But in the night before the meeting, as Ananda placed his head to his pillow to sleep, he also achieved the state of an arhat. So the following day, he was able to gather with the other 499 arhats. Now, Ananda had the power of perfect recall. He was able to repeat all the sutras or discourses that the Buddha had ever given. He could even recite them word for word. And since Ananda had always stayed by the Buddha's side as his attendant, he'd always been present for all the conversations that the Buddha had had with even small groups and individuals. So for the benefit of others, he was able to repeat all these conversations and teachings, and where it was possible, other monks verified what Ananda had told them, and all the teachings were then given the seal of approval by the council. There was also another monk named Upali, who was an expert on the rules of monks and nuns. He could recollect all the rules as well as all the stories behind why the rules were made. So Upali repeated all the teachings before the 500 arhats, and once these were heard, these were also approved by the council. Eventually, all the teachings were compiled systematically into what is called the Pali Canon or the Tripitaka. Tri means three and Pitaka means basket, so it literally means the three baskets. And the reason for this name is because it was made up of the three collections. The first collection is the Vinaya Pitaka. These are the precepts for both monks and nuns and the stories behind them, which is what the monk Upali recollected. And there are 3 books belonging to this collection. The second basket is the Sutra Pitaka, which contains all the discourses and popular teachings of the Buddha. It contains 5 volumes, also known as Nikayas, and these are the Digha Nikaya, which is the collection of long discourses, Majjhima Nikaya, the collection of middle-length discourses, Samyutta Nikaya, the kindred sayings, Anguttara Nikaya, the gradual collection, and the Khuddaka Nikaya, the compact discourses. The Khuddaka Nikaya is the largest volume and has 15 to 18 books. The reason for the difference in number is because some traditions, such as Burmese and Thai, will include some books but omit others. 2 of the most popular books in the Khuddaka Nikaya are the Dhammapada, which are short verses spoken by the Buddha on various occasions, and the Jataka, which are the stories that the Buddha told about his previous lives. Since there are 16 other books in the Khuddaka Nikaya, I'll list the other 16 on my website and provide you with some online links to some of them. Now, the third basket that makes up the Tripitaka is the Abhidharma. These are defined as the higher teaching, and they include teachings on metaphysics, consciousness, and it details the process of birth and death. The Abhidharma contains 7 books. It's said that the Buddha taught the essence of the Abhidharma to Sariputta, who was one of the Buddha's foremost disciples, and Sariputta then codified it into his present form. Of all the Pitakas, the Abhidharma is the most difficult to read and understand. It doesn't make for light reading. In fact, it's said that only some parts of the Abhidharma were recited in the First Buddhist Council. It wasn't until the Third Buddhist Council, around 250 BC, that it was compiled into the present form and accepted as the final Pitaka. So the Tripitaka is also known as the Pali Canon because it was written down in the Pali language, and these are the scriptures that are most revered and studied by the practitioners of Theravada Buddhism. It's said it took about 7 months for the completion of the First Buddhist Council and for all the teachings to be recited and approved. These teachings were then divided into parts so that the 500 arhats were assigned the duty of remembering certain sections, which they would have then asked their disciples to memorize, and so on and so on. Therefore, the teachings were passed via a reliable oral tradition. Then later in the 1st century, during the 4th Buddhist Council, the teachings were written down on palm leaves and made into books. Now, if you're just starting out in Buddhism and you're interested in reading about the Buddhist teachings, generally the easiest and most popular reading would be the Dhammapada, or perhaps one of the Nikayas like the Majjhima Nikaya, which is the collection of middle-length discourses. But an even better introduction to Buddhism would perhaps be one of the many books written by modern-day Buddhist teachers who have the ability to extract the essence of the Buddhist teachings and transmit it in an everyday language that we can all understand. So to help you out, I've compiled a list of some great Buddhist books that you can find on my website under the suggested reading section. There are some books there that I'm sure you will love. So that concludes my talk on the Tripitaka and the First Buddhist Council. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel for future videos. Please like and comment if you found this video helpful. Go and check out the list of Buddhist books I recommended on my website, enthusiasticbuddhist.com, and comment below if you have any other suggestions for books that you think are great for beginners. So take care everyone, and I hope to see you in the next episode.